I think from what I've seen in the past of the last 2 decades, there have been major changes in the landscape of field service. I think when we take a look back about, let's say, back in 2005, 2007, we've seen Google Maps coming up, which was a major change because map material and geocoding and routing was a major issue, and it was really difficult to find a good solution, and they changed very often, many providers, but not really covering the entire globe. And with Google Maps, that was something that really increased the productivity with regards to geography, which obviously in field service is a very important topic. And then 2 years later, there was the iPhone coming up, Android was getting traction. And what we saw also was that the network coverage all over the globe was really increasing and improving. So what we've seen in the past is really a huge increase of productivity with all the tool sets that we have. I mean, the smartphone is everything. It's a camera, it's a GPS device, it's a microphone, it's a mail client, it's a browser. You can do all sorts of things. So that gives you a lot of possibilities in the field to communicate and to process and digitize the operations. That being said, whenever there is an increase of productivity, it's like with good weather. You know, after a long period of rain, when sun comes out, you really are really happy with it. You think, oh, this is wonderful. You have it for 2 or 3 days, and then if it turns rainy again, you think, oh, hang on, that's pretty bad. I was so used to good weather. So, and that's the same thing with productivity. When you increase your productivity, your audience and your customers get very quickly used to that increase of productivity. So you have to keep up with it and continue to increase the productivity. So at the same time, while we have this increase, we also see expectations going up of customers. And obviously, with many digitized processes on business to consumer market, we also see that coming forward in the business to business market. At the same time, we see a huge increase of traffic. There is a very interesting website of INRIX. I'll just go through 2 slides here, which shows how much time we lose when we travel through cities. London really is the worst, but even with other cities, you can see that technicians actually lose about at least 10 days, working days in a year, just because they're stuck in traffic. That's a huge impact. It's not only in terms of time, but it also has an impact in terms of costs. Not only fuel, but obviously the time spent in the car. So you would pay a technician almost a half a month or a month just because he's in traffic, but not doing anything. That is a huge impact, and it is increasing heavily. Just go and have a look at that website. It's a really interesting site. What we also see in the field service operations is that regulations become more and more strict, which is in some respect is good. I mean, we're talking about sustainability, environments, privacy, security, and all that. But it also, you need to adapt your operations to those regulations. In some cases, we've seen customers actually benefiting from those regulations because those regulations very often produce some new business models. So that can also change your operations because you can follow the regulations and set up new business with it. At the same time, we see a lot of competition. Globalization really has a huge impact. All of a sudden, you have a lot more competitors than you thought you would have, and the market is diversifying. So it really is a challenge to keep track with the market. Also, what we see in the Western world is obviously that there are many older technicians that will retire pretty soon or already have retired. And it's quite a challenge to find new staff and attract them and keep them. And because they have a different sort of view on how they would combine their work with their life. And that is a different scenario that you really have to take into account. The only thing that hasn't changed over the last 2 decades, that's what I call the VUCA. Maybe some people know that abbreviation. It's about volatility, uncertainty, the complexity and ambiguity. It's really something that hasn't changed at all. It's still something that we have to deal with. And